I pulled a chapter out from this book called The Creative Act. Out of 78 thoughts or 78 chapters, I pulled chapter 73, which is about cooperation. So, the best way to cooperate is utilizing social intelligence. And how do we do that? Well, in today's video, I'm here to let you know that the easiest way to unlocking that cooperation skill through these 8 tips that I found. The first one is active listening. And if you're wondering why I'm looking off to the side, just know I have my notes right here pulled up. So 1, active listening. The reason why is because you need to pay attention. You need to focus fully on the speaker and avoiding distractions. So when it comes to like a team meeting you were to have with someone and you're dozing off and you're not listening to them, and comes an important bullet point or an important vital crucial detail in the project, you're just there dozing off. It's like la la la, backstory, space. How can you really cooperate if you're not listening to that person? If anything, you're hearing them but you're not listening to them. When you do get confused and you're like, wait, you lost me a bit there, ask that question. Be like, hey, I noticed that you were talking about that we have a deadline coming up on the 23rd. Was it this August or was it in September? What's the deadline? I feel like I kind of brushed over that detail. Can you like re-emphasize that? Another thing is empathy. One of my favorite things when it comes to empathy is you're able to show compassion and understand people, and then you take the other perspective. Because what empathy does, it's kind of like one of those socially intelligent quotient type of things where you're like, okay, how do they feel? Am I aware with their emotions? You want to be aware of the way how others speak and the way how you influence the behaviors. Because when it comes to understanding emotions, like you're able to utilize the current atmosphere in the room. You walk into the room and you notice a lot of people are tensed, a lot of people are stressed. So what do? Of course, don't add on top of that stress. No one wants stress to be on top of another, placid of stress. What you want to do is you want to diffuse that situation. And you want to be like, okay, how do I tone down the level of the room from becoming point A, like, oh my God, why the are you doing this? To, okay, this is obviously not something we should be doing. How do we take it down a level notch? Like, when it comes to people being stressed, what I like to do, or whenever it comes to helping people cope with their feelings, I usually sprinkle in, optimism. And it's this way that I like to do. And I usually like to do these things that make people, have a little spark in their joy, I guess, and to really release that stress levels. Whether it's through talking about how they feel, whether it's doing something that helps assist them, or it's kind of paying attention to their love languages too, or love habits that help them kind of like, okay, I'm not alone on this. Like, it may, at the end of the day, it may be stressful, but the day has to end somehow. And you know what? I've come to terms with how I feel. So understanding their perspective and showing compassion, like, hey, how can I help you? Can I help you with X, Y, and Z? Can I make you laugh? Do you want to go out and drink some water? Do you want to get some soft drinks, some sweet drinks, or some sweet treats? Like, you want to be able to show empathy to them and tell them like, hey, you're not alone on this, and that's how you cooperate. The next one is effective communication. Now, for me, I kind of struggle with this. I will admit it. I kind of struggle at effective communication. When it comes to communication, you want to be clear and concise, and you want to let people know what's on your mind. Other people won't be able to communicate the same way as you, and you have to be okay with that. Some people may not understand your verbal usage because you come from a different, let's say, a different city, and another person comes from a different city. You need to communicate in a universal language that makes people understand. And obviously, when it comes to effective communication, you have to pay attention to the nonverbal cues. So I kind of struggle with this too. Sometimes my non-verbal cues is just the way how I just am silly goofy, the way how I exist. People are like, I need to learn how to work with that, and that's okay. As the key players in the workplace, you have the leaders, then you have the people that are the mediators, and you have the people that come in and say with the emotions, and then you have the organizers. The next is building trust. This is like one of those important team bonding aspects when it comes to cooperating and utilizing social intelligence. Because when you are able to build trust, you're able to be transparent and be honest with another person. When you're able to be honest and transparent, you're able to be honest with another person. And it establishes that mutual respect between you and your teamwork team members as well. Next is social awareness. So when it comes to social awareness, it's important to understand the social dynamics of everyone. So everyone comes from different perspectives and different backgrounds. Another person might think the way how you talk is very aggressive, but how you might interpret them, they're very, soft-spoken. So it's different perspectives and different ways of how people communicate. But no one's going to be able to exactly act like you. They can mimic your actions, they can mimic who you are, but they're not going to be you. No one's going to be able to replace you, and no one's going to be able to be you. So you need to be understanding the dynamics of the social dynamics. So anticipate on how someone might react to you and the way how they work. Example, point of view. There's someone new and you're entering the workplace. You see these two people. One, someone who's very loud. Dare I say outrageous. Dare I say someone who's very chaotic. The next, you see someone who's very soft-spoken. They're to themselves, but they get their work done. And then in your perspective, you're like, the person who's loud is always goofing off. There's someone who doesn't pay attention that much. They're very chaotic, not very demure. And then the person who's quiet, very sophisticated, very classy. However, they're both managers. They both are clocked in, they both are locked in. So the chaotic person, they actually are able to handle a lot of teams. They're able to manage multiple people. They're manager the people go up to when they need to de-stress and talk about how they feel. And they're like, hey, I need new ideas. I need inspiration. Can you look over this? And then the quiet one, they're the type of person to be like, okay, let's go through your plan to see what if you have everything lined up. Let's see if you did all the paperwork for X, Y, and Z. At first, you may think, oh yeah, the quiet person's the manager. No. They're both managers because they work at different capacities. Adaptability basically helps someone stay open-minded. It shows flexibility in roles, and it makes you allowed to learn from other people. Adaptability is basically, think of it as a chameleon, social chameleon, someone who's able to switch their colors from very quiet to very open-minded to another person being very chaotic to another person who's very organized. So it's like it depends, and they could change their personality type and work and fit into their key role that they need to work in. The next one's feedback and continuous improvement. The reason why this is really important is because there is never not enough time. You are never. This is to say that, in life, you're never not going to learn from your mistakes and from your past. You're always going to improve and you're always going to grow as a person. You reflect and you improve and you reflect on your skills. You learn that, okay, what are some things I need to work on? What are some things you need to work on? Like, hey, I need to work on my punctuality. I sometimes come in a little bit like 30 minutes late. Sometimes I come in a little bit 5 minutes late. How do I wake up early for the day so I can show up for not only myself, but for my workplace as well? How do I take in more of the leadership role? How do I be able to navigate and command the will of other people and be like, hey, this is something we need to work on. Let's actually get the pace up, y'all. Like, this is what we need to do. How does this relate to collaboration? When you're able to actually take in constructive criticism, because when you're in that leadership role or whenever you want to cooperate with people, whether it's in college or in high school, you are bound to meet people who want to kind of give you advice and feedback on how you can improve. Whether it's through homework, collaborations on group projects, or even in the workplace when you have to do like an X, Y, and Z task. You are never not growing as a person and improving on yourself. Because in an effort for all of that, that's how you get collaboration and teamwork. Collaboration teamwork is literally hand to hand. Asking like, okay, what are some things that we can work on together as people, and then what are some things we can resolve during conflict? Conflict resolution is an important key role when it comes to cooperation and social intelligence. That's the key important thing. You're working on an academic school project, and a group of you and your classmates are assigned to work on a research project together. So this is how you can divide this group project. So I'm also reading it off my notes because I cannot remember for the life of me. But the group divides the work based on each member's strengths. One student excels at writing, another at data analysis, and another at presentation design. They collaborate through regular meetings, sharing their progress and helping each other with challenges. The final project is well-rounded and thorough because of the diverse contributions in the collective effort. So, what did we learn from this? Basically, the group has different roles. They all don't collectively work as a hierarchy where, like, okay, one person does the research, the other person just does blah, blah, blah. No, they don't do any of that. What they do is that they separate each position into what are their key aspects and their strengths. For example, another student is strong in their writing skills, another person is strong in their data analysis skills, while another person is really good at their graphic design and presentation skills. So each role plays a vital thing for the entire academic school project to work into one theme, or for the academic school project to work all together. So everyone plays a key role in an effort to make that school project work. So where did you learn this? How can you apply? What you can do and what you can apply to your skill is that you as a person, you have your own individual skills. So don't downplay your worth into one singular thing, you know? Just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're not good at the other. It just means you're strong in another skill. You know, it's like, don't denounce your worth when you feel like it's the end of your don't denounce your worth if you feel like at the end of the day, like, your skills do not matter, because you have strengths that are unique to your own self as a person. While another person, for example, you know, you are the loudest person in the room. You're so great at commanding the attention to yourself, but another person cannot do that, you know? But you wish you were more reserved, or you wish you were X, Y, and Z. As much as we wish to be X, Y, and Z, we can't. You have to accept your strengths and learn, how do I turn this negative narrative of myself into a positive one for an effort to grow as a person? Because most of the time when it comes to collaborations, effective collaborations is understanding both perspectives from each side, from yours and then from the other team members. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's a little interesting. If you didn't like it, I'm sorry, my bad, G. If you did like it, let me know. I hope we can continue doing more of these because I love pulling out chapters from the Creative Act. I've been reading this book lately and it's really good. And I just enjoy this book because it helps me process and analyze. It helps me analyze my brain process and helps me understand, like, hey, regardless of how you act, you are still a creative at the end of the day. You still create and you still make things. It may not be either an artsy way, but in a way you do create and you bring and breathe life into things. And that's what I kind of like. You know, I love books like that. Anyways, enjoy this. Please leave a like. If you want to see more, I hope we see more. Alright. Bye, see y'all next time, or see y'all later. Bye.